This is Season 2, Episode 7, songs 1880 to 1861.
Christopher Williams, Billboard Top 3000 Countdown. Yeah. Every chorus, every hook you know by heart. Christopher Williams, Billboard Top 3000 Countdown. From number 1 to the ones that lit the chart.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Chris's Billboard Top 3000 Countdown podcast, where I discuss a set of songs that are ranked in Billboard's top all-time countdown from 1958, August 4th, through the end of 2022, a span covering over 65 years of the rock era and over 13,500 songs that have hit the top 40 in that time span. Now, Billboard assigns a point value based on number of weeks in the chart, its peak position, and it's weighed through various eras throughout the rock era. The point values are all added up. They are ranked from most to least. We shave off the top 3,000 and then we discuss them here in sets of 20 per podcast. I hope you enjoy. Did you know that Michael Jackson's first number one as a solo artist was not Billie Jean, nor was it Beat It, nor Rock With You, or Don't Stop Till You Get Enough? It was actually back in 1972, while he was still with the Jackson 5. He recorded a slow friendship ballad song that was the theme from a forgettable horror film called Ben, about a lonely boy who befriends a rat who ends up becoming a killer rat later in the movie. I have never seen it. I have no plans to. The song that came out of it actually hit number one on October 14th, 1972, and I think I was about a month old when that hit number one. Who would have thunk that Michael Jackson would have thunk that that would have been the first of 13 number one hits for Michael Jackson as a solo artist or as a part of a duet? Anyway, this starts off our countdown. At song number 1880, here is Michael Jackson with Ben.
They don't see you as I do. I wish they would try to. I'm sure they'd think again if they had a friend like Ben.
Jackson was only 13 years old when he recorded that song, and you can tell by the childlike voice he still has that changes when he gets into the later 70s and early 80s. He wouldn't have another solo hit until 1975 with the song Just a Little Bit of You, and then he has his breakout in 1979 with his Off the Wall album. That was Michael Jackson and Ben, song number 1880 on Billboard's Top 3,000 Songs of All Time. And welcome to this latest set of a wonderful 20 songs as we're in the 1800s. A listener and friend, Mark Hayford, mentioned to me earlier that every song is getting familiar. And I think that's what's starting to happen. Amongst the songs of the 2000s, there were good pockets of ones that we hadn't heard from before, especially if it wasn't in your genre, or you might have heard it but not know the name or who sang it. As we get closer and closer into the 1800s and following, the number of songs that we hadn't heard of or are unfamiliar with drastically go down, especially for avid chart fans. This particular set of 20 encapsulates that. The average peak position of the 20 songs in this set is 2.7, which means most of the songs have hit top 3. No song at a peak position lower than number 5, and there were 4 number 1 hits. I think there will be other sets that won't be as high for a while, but I think you will notice, as Mark did when he messaged me, that the songs are starting to get more familiar. There are 2 questions that I presented to the Facebook group. If you're new to this, we have a Facebook group that you can go and be part of the community. Just go to Chris Billboard Top 3000 Countdown Podcast and request to join, and I will invite you in. There's 344 members. I ask various questions. People put lots of topics out there for discussion, all about pop music. The 2 questions I have, the first question from my traditional what's your favorite song from a specific band is Van Halen this time. Yes, they are on this set. We haven't heard from them in over 1,000 songs. They're a classic heavy metal band with a huge catalog, and I was curious to know what your favorite song was by them. The other question is a follow-up to last podcast where I asked about anticipation. Is there a specific song, group, or set of songs that you are anticipating on this countdown that we haven't gotten to yet? And I actually posed the question out and got some responses. So that will be my special segment. What songs are you anticipating? The feedback from that. So look forward to both of those special segments. But let's continue on with the countdown and song number 1879. Remember, we're familiar with these songs, and we go to 1986 with the Australian group INXS. Now, INXS's real breakthrough on the charts came in 1987 with their album Kick, which yielded 4 top 40 hits, all of them making the top 10, including the number 1 song Need You Tonight, which is one of the 500 greatest songs of all time. But they did hit the charts 2 other times prior to that real breakthrough. The first one, The One Thing, a number 30 hit in 1983 that you would probably remember if you heard it, although it probably doesn't sound familiar to you. And this one, which is familiar to you, because it's familiar to everyone, a 1986 hit called What You Need. It peaked at number 5 after spending 14 weeks in the top 40. And it's the first time we really got to hear Michael Hutchence and that INXS groove. This is song number 1879, What You Need.
You need, ooh, that's why. This is what you need, this is what you need.
Written by founding members, the Ferris brothers, Andrew and John, and Michael Hutchence, it was the last song they wrote for their Listen Like Thieves album when the producers say, we don't have a hit yet. So they wrote it in one day, and bam, hits top 5. And it was the precursor to all of the big stuff that was coming 2 years later. That was INXS with song number 1879, What You Need. Let's stay in the 80s, shall we? In 1984, and one of the most recognizable one-hit wonders of the rock era, and one of the biggest foreign language rock songs of the rock era. Although there is 2 versions of this song, one in English and one in German, talking about the German rock group Nena. Now, Nena is led by singer Nena, otherwise known as Gabrielle Suzanne Kerner, from North Rhine-Westphalia, West Germany at the time, now Germany, who has some downloads, by the way. I do see several North Rhine-Westphalia downloads. Maybe it is Nena. I doubt it. But anyway, if it is, I hope so, because her song is coming up next. It was a sort of a reluctant political hit when Nena's guitarist Carlo Carges noticed that balloons were being released in West Berlin and thought, what would happen if they flew over to East Berlin? How would they respond to that? Well, the response was 99 Luftballons, their only hit in the United States. It's the German version that technically hit number 2, but they've played both versions of it on American Top 40. And for this clip, I did my DJ magic and spliced 10 seconds of the German version and 10 seconds of the English version. And on March 3rd, 1984, climbed all the way up to number 2, kept out of the top spot by, ironically, the band we were just talking about, Van Halen, and their 5-week number 1 smash Jump. This is song number 1878, Nena and 99 Red Balloons.
99 Luftballons, ihren Weg zum Horizont hielt man für UFOs aus dem All. Warum schickte ein General the war machine springs to life, opens up one eager eye, focusing it on the sky. The 99 red balloons go by.
Oh, that song is fun, and it definitely takes you back to the mid-'80s and all the memories that are contained thereof. Nena with 99 Luftballons, or 99 Red Balloons, song number 1878 on Billboard's Top 3,000 Songs of All Time. We're going to continue to stay in the 80s. This is a heavy pocket of 80s tunes. This song from 1987 was when I did my very first Top 100 personal countdown was the number 2 song. And then the next countdown I did, it was number 1 for 5 consecutive versions of my top 100. This was my favorite song of all time, mostly through high school. It's not in it anymore, but I still really, really enjoy it. And it comes from Genesis. I had mentioned earlier, Genesis has had 17 top 40 hits, but the only ones that qualified for this particular countdown, there's 5 of them, were all from the same album, Invisible Touch. There was the title track, the number 1 hit, we haven't gotten to it yet, and 4 other hits, 3 which we have. Tonight, 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 it's song 2431, Throwing It All Away, it's song 2428, and Land of Confusion, it's song 2034. This one is In Too Deep. It was their 5th hit, a number 3 hit that spent 12 weeks in the top 40. And it's a beautiful, heartbreaking ballad sung masterfully by Phil Collins. It lands at song number 1877. This is Genesis with In Too Deep.
You know I love you, but I just can't take this. You know I love you, but I'm playing for keeps. Although I need you, I'm not gonna make this. You know I want to, but I'm in too deep.
Phil Collins was on top of the world in the mid-'80s between his solo work and with the group Genesis. You will notice that a lot of albums in the 80s had several tracks that hit top 10. Records for most albums that have top 10 hits all come from the 80s because it was cheaper to just keep releasing the next song than it would have an entire new session and grab new songs off that new session. That phenomenon kind of started in the mid-'80s and continued throughout, which is why you see Bruce Springsteen's with 7 top 10 hits and Michael Jackson with 7 top 10 hits. Genesis, same thing, 5 top 10 hits off of Invisible Touch. That was In Too Deep, song number 1877. Well, we go from one song that used to be in my personal top 100 to one that is currently in my top 100. My favorite rap song of all time, I mentioned in a previous podcast, is Turn It Up by Busta Rhymes. My second favorite, without question, is Eminem's hit from the Eminem Show called Without Me, a song that I would describe as him pulverizing a rhyme. That's what I know best about Eminem. I can't believe how many ways that he could rhyme the same damn word with 20 other words and then link it to another word that he can rhyme 20 other words, all without skipping a beat. The man is a master. And by the time he hit Eminem Show in 2002, he was on top of the rap world. The man has 44 top 40 hits in his career, although a lot of them are part of album bombs, where they would release a whole bunch of songs off of one album. That's a 2010s and 20s phenomenon. This one was not. In 2002, this song went all the way up to number 2 from June 29th all the way to July 27th. 5 weeks at number 2, kept out the entire time by Nelly's smash hit Hot in Here. And I like this song better. But I like Hot in Here, but I like this song better. This is song number 1876, Eminem and Without Me.
This looks like a job for me, so everybody just follow me, cause we need a little controversy, cause it feels so empty without me. I said this looks like a job for me, so everybody just follow me, cause we need a little controversy, cause it feels so empty without me. Little hellions, kids feeling rebellious and bare.
By playing the chorus, I did not give this song enough credit for the tapestry of rhyme that goes from front end to back end. I just love this song. Without Me by Eminem. The second song he's put onto this countdown following the number 1 hit Not Afraid from 2010. It's song 2491. He's got 3 left. All number 1 hit, including the smash hit Lose Yourself from the 8 Mile soundtrack, of which he starred in. That was a 12-week number 1. We're going to hear that one much later. But for now, my favorite one of his, Without Me, Eminem. If you wanted to find me outside of the link in Facebook, you can on all the major sites and all the minor sites where you get your podcast. Just look for Chris Billboard Top 3000, look for my avatar, click on it, and then subscribe to it. So anytime I drop a new episode, usually on a Thursday or a Friday, you will be kept informed. But if you only want to get a hold of me through the Facebook app, that's good too. I have a link that I put to the Facebook every time I drop a new episode. You can get to me there. Now on with the countdown. Song number 1875. The aughts had a lot of rap tunes where men's bodies were considered confectionery delights, whether it's Lil Wayne's #1 hit Lollipop or 50 Cent's #1 hit Candy Shop. We can also go to D4L's #1 hit, Laffy Taffy. D4L, an Atlanta-based hip-hop group that just had the one hit on the pop charts, had a #1 hit on January 14th, 2006, primarily due to their overwhelming online sales, which were relatively new at the time. So come to the candy store, get some Laffy Taffy, song number 1875.
Don't be shy, I'm Playboy. I know you wanna ride, you're a star, and it shows. What's happening? What's up? Let's go, let's go, let's go. Girl, shake that Laffy Taffy, that Laffy Taffy. Shake that Laffy Taffy, shake that Laffy Taffy. Girl, shake that Laffy Taffy, that Laffy Taffy.
D4L, which stands for Down for Life, with their one-hit wonder from 2005-2006, Laffy Taffy. We're going to hear those other candy songs later in the countdown, but this a #1 hit, and it's song number 1875 on Billboard's Top 3,000 Songs of All Time. Moving to song number 1874, and we go from the hardcore rap of Eminem and the hardcore rap of D4L to the hardcore pop from the 70s supergroup The Carpenters. And I love that the Billboard gods had placed songs like this together that have nothing else in common but the amount of weeks they spent on the Billboard pop charts. Because I don't think there's many playlists that will have Laffy Taffy and Rainy Days and Mondays back to back. But that's what we have. Karen Carpenter and that incredible voice from her 1971 #2 hit from June 19th and June 26th, 1971, kept out of the top spot by Carole King's classic, It's Too Late I Feel the Earth Move. It's the fourth time we've heard the Carpenters, and it's song number 1874. This is Rainy Days and Mondays.
Nothing is really wrong, feeling like I don't belong, walking around some kind of lonely cloud. Rainy days and Mondays always get me down.
Did you know there were 7 songs in the Billboard pop charts that have the word Monday in the title? Fell in Love on Monday by Fats Domino. I Don't Have to Be Me Till Monday by Steve Azar. Jimmy Buffett's Come Monday. Duran Duran's New Moon on Monday. Those didn't make this countdown. The Carpenters' Rainy Days and Mondays. The Bangles' #2 hit Manic Monday. And the #1 hit The Mamas and the Papas, Monday Monday. Thought you might like to know this was the 3rd greatest Monday song in Billboard history. Rainy Days and Mondays by the Carpenters. They've got 5 songs left on this countdown, all of them in season 2. Interesting. We move on to song number 1873 and another #2 hit. This one going all the way back to 1958, to December 15th, 1958 to be exact, is when this song hit #2 for a single week, kept out of the top spot by To Know Him Is to Love Him by the Teddy Bears. Yeah, we're going way, way back. Remember, 1958 didn't have a huge universe in which to work with because the Hot 100 didn't start until August 4th. So only really songs from August 4th on could qualify for this countdown. But this one did, and it's from one of the greatest duos of all time. In fact, it was the greatest charting duo of all time until Daryl Hall and John Oates took over in the mid-'80s. And it comes from Don and Phil Everly, the Everly Brothers. This is their first mention in this countdown. They're from Knoxville, Tennessee, does a bit of rock and roll, rockabilly, country rock, and was very, very popular in the 50s. 21 top 40 hits from the Hot 100. They had songs before the Hot 100 as well, including 2 #1s, Wake Up Little Susie and All I Have to Do Is Dream, and a #2 hit, Bye Bye Love, who predated the Hot 100, so they're not in this countdown, unfortunately, but they did get a few songs in, including this one called Problems. It spent 11 weeks in the top 40, and it lands here at song number 1873. This is the Everly Brothers with Problems.
Problems all day long. Will my problems work out right or wrong? My baby don't like any
Both their harmonies and their guitar are very, very distinctive. You can tell it's an Everly Brothers song fairly quickly. And they were another group that sort of stopped making hits as soon as the British invasion came in the mid-60s. That was the Everly Brothers with song number 1873, Problems. Well, time for my Facebook group question of this set. What is your favorite song by the LA rock group Van Halen? They're one of the most distinctive bands of all time, and one that has survived changes to their lead singer, which is very, very rare. Normally when the lead singer goes, the band goes, or at least they don't stay as popular. AC/DC was one that survived a lead change when Bon Scott passed away and was replaced by Brian Johnson. Well, the David Lee Roth getting fired and being replaced by Sammy Hagar, a very well-known rock and roll artist at the time, and they just kept going and making hits, although it is a distinction between the David Lee Roth era and the Sammy Hagar era. So I asked that question, what's your favorite song by Van Halen? Got a lot of responses. And remember, if you do respond, you may be on this podcast. But my goodness, lots of responses. Either they really like Van Halen or my Facebook group is getting bigger and bigger. Maybe a little of both. Daily Carrasco, I will start with you, who lists Right Now and Love Walks In and Dreams. Robert Brittenham agrees with Dreams, as does Brian Lefevre. Already we have a frontrunner. Robin Zisman Stone, Dance the Night Away from the Diamond Dave era and Right Now from the Sammy Hagar era. The Right video was really cool. A lot of folks did separate their favorite song from David Lee Roth and favorite song from Sammy Hagar. Mark Hayford, all right, I had to soul search on this and still can't pick just one. However, enjoying both Sammy and Dave for what they gave us. I'm always in the VH minority, but do yourself a favor and check out the 1998 VH Three-Headed by Gary Sharon from Extreme for one song, Without You, is a serious banger that never gets love and has to be in my top 10 Van Halen. Thank you for the third alternative. Remember, Gary Sharon from Extreme. Richard Congram has Love Walks In and then Jump, that number one smash. Don Logis says Jump. My goodness, a wide range as I'm reading this. Marcela Nunez has Dreams. Jack T. Smith, Eruption with You Really Got Me. Great Kinks cover with a kick-ass song leading into it. I like that they do those little intros, and I remember that, Eruption and You Really Got Me. Joseph Toth says Panama. Elizabeth Armstrong, I'm afraid to say it because it's Sammy Hagar era. When It's Love from the OU812 album. Dave Letizia, I hope I pronounced that correctly, Dance the Night Away. It's the only Van Halen recording that will make my personal top 1,000 favorites that I'm in the process of generating. When you do come up with that, please send it to me. I would love to see your top 1,000. I love personal top hundreds and thousands. Mitch Worthington said I'm going to go with the obvious one. It's Jump. That opening riff, it's timeless and classic. David Vraney, Unchained. Joseph Ayers, Running with the Devil. I love that song. Steve Ruskin, with David, it's Panama. With Sammy, it's Dreams. Marie Lofton, Jamie's Crying and Unchained. Jeffrey Marr says Ice Cream Man. And Mike Boyna said Anyone That's Over. Oh, shut up, Mike. There's a lot of people that like Van Halen. Yours doesn't count. Dan Ruskin, You Really Got Me. With the Eruption intro, of course. Peter Mercia, Dreams, Why Can't This Be Love? Jump, and I'll Wait, and When It's Love. I love that you give me a whole list of them. Thank you, Peter. Karen Shupp says Little Guitars. Scott Yace, This Is Broad. Pretty Woman, Panama, and Dreams. Albert Navarro says Finish What You Started. Tim Little has Gotta Be Hot for Teacher. Bam, he picked mine. That's my favorite one of all time and one of my 50 favorite songs ever. He says the drum beat is absolutely killer. I agree. Aaron McCracken, Why Can't This Be Love? Lauren Gilbert, Ain't Talking About Love, No Question About It. Dave Custer says Unchained. Chris Hutchinson Williamson, I Will Make It Easy, the entire albums of OU812 and 5150. I listened to them both today on my first long walk since fracturing my foot. I hope your foot's better. And she says, as you can see, I like Sammy better. Twin Father Bolo, Love Walks In or Crater Will Rock. Matt Geske, Why Can't This Be Love? First hit with Sammy and my favorite Van Halen song. Victor Cruz says Dreams. Rhonda Work, their remake of Happy Trails, brings back such good memories for me. I also love Hot for Teacher. Andrew Davis says Atomic Punk. That's a new one. Scott Kao, Runnin' with the Devil. Hans Anderson says all of them, but since you asked for one, I will go with Why Can't This Be Love in the Sammy era. And Bob Hunt says Right Now, a great big catalog and a lot of people that selected a bunch of different ones. Thank you so much for your responses. Well, we had 4 people pick the one that's up at song number 1872. Hans Anderson, I'm Looking at You. As I Am, Matt Geske. As I Am, Aaron McCracken. And Peter Mercia. They picked a Sammy Hagar song from 1986 called Why Can't This Be Love? In fact, this was the very first single that Van Halen put out that had Sammy Hagar as the lead on it off the 5150 album. And it went all the way up to number 3 in 1986 after spending 11 weeks in the top 40. This is song number 1872, Van Halen, and Why Can't This Be Love?
It's got what it takes. So tell me why can't this be love? Straight from my heart. Oh, tell me why can't this be love?
I was saying at the beginning of the podcast, we heard Van Halen once, way back at song number 2974, over 1,000 songs ago, and it was When It's Love, also a Sammy Hagar hit. So it begs the question, is there a song that has David Lee Roth singing on this countdown? We already heard from him as a solo artist, but is he a member of Van Halen on this countdown? Yes. The song Jump, which is the last song we're going to get to by Van Halen. They were a middling group. They had 5 hits, peak between 12 and 15, but only 3 top 10s. But one of them lands here. That was Why Can't This Be Love, song number 1872. Now we get to song number 1871, and one of my all-time favorites by one of the all-time greatest artists in rock history, Stevie Wonder. And I think 1973 and 1974 really were peak Stevie. Listen to the songs that hit top 40, just the ones that hit top 40 from those 2 years. You Haven't Done Nothing, You Are the Sunshine of My Life, Boogie On Reggae Woman, Superstition, Living for the City, Don't You Worry About a Thing. And this song, Higher Ground, some of the greatest music making, both from lyrics and from a melody standpoint that I could think of. My goodness, what a time to be alive to be able to listen to him. This is off the Innervisions album where he did Livin' for the City, which we heard at song 2810, and Don't You Worry About a Thing, a number 16 hit. This is Higher Ground. Yes, the same song that Red Hot Chili Peppers turned into a top 40 hit 20 years later. This peaked at number 4 after spending 12 weeks in the top 40, lands at song 1871. This is Stevie Wonder and Higher Ground.
So darn glad it let me try it again. 'Cause my last time on earth I lived a whole world of sin. I'm so glad that I know more than I knew then. Gonna keep on trying until I reach my highest ground.
I really do like the Red Hot Chili Peppers version of this song, but it's not, Stevie. It's not funky enough. This is an awesome song. Higher Ground, song number 1871 on Billboard's top 3,000 songs of all time. And we are halfway done with this set. Song number 1870 comes from the Tennessee-based rock band The Box Tops from the late 60s. Remember them? I always remembered them for the one song, their big smash number 1, The Letter, from 1967. And I didn't think they had any other hits, to be honest. But they did. They had 7 top 40 hits, a lot of them in the 20s and 30s, and a number 18 hit called Soul Deep. They had this number 2 hit as well from 1968, April 27th and May 4th to be exact, when it hit number 2, kept out of the top spot by Bobby Goldsborough's Honey, 5-week smash number 1. I didn't attribute this to the Box Tops. It's called Cry Like a Baby, and it spent 12 weeks in the top 40, half of those in the top 10. It's song number 1870. Here's the first of 2 hits from the Box Tops, Cry Like a Baby.
Every road is a lonely street. I cry like a baby. I know now that you're not a plaything, not a toy or a puppet on a string.
William Chilton, the lead singer, sounds a lot older than his years. He was only 18 when he recorded that song. He sounds like a 60s version of Eddie Money, and he looks a little bit like Eddie Money as well. That was the Box Tops with Cry Like a Baby, song number 1870 on Billboard's Top 3,000 Songs of All Time. They have the one hit, The Letter, which will be deep into season 3. Song number 1869, and this is the third entry for the disco star and younger brother of the superstar Bee Gees brothers, Andy Gibb. We've already heard him at song 2722 with Our Love Don't Throw It All Away, and at 2143 in Everlasting Love. Both of those songs were from 1978. Most of his hits come from 77 and 78, but he has one entry that hit top 10 from the 80s, 1980 to be exact, with the song Desire. Now, it also has his brothers, Barry, Robin, and Morris, on background vocals. The four of them could never stay far away from each other. Andy said that him and Barry were best friends, and he always wanted to emulate his big brother. Well, this one, Desire, went all the way up to number 4 in 1980 after spending 12 weeks in the top 40. It's song number 1869. This is Andy Gibb with Desire.
And you are the woman that I place my whole existence on. And when I get to you, my desire is glowing in your
I probably featured too much of the Bee Gees in that particular clip, as he sings the main part, and the chorus, where it says Desire, is mainly by his brothers. But that was Andy Gibbs, song number 1869. He's got 3 songs left, and you will hear them very, very late. He dominated 77 and 78 with his 3 songs, I Just Want to Be Your Everything, Shadow Dancing, and Love is Thicker Than Water. So I'm glad we heard him now, because it'll be deep in season 3 by the time we hear him again. That was Andy Gibb. Are the songs starting to be all familiar, like I mentioned at the top of the podcast, from top to bottom? I feel that's the case. Even the 1 or 2 hit wonders are sounding more and more familiar, like this progressive rock band from Atlanta, Georgia called Starbuck that was formed in 1974. They had a roving list of band members, over 15 of them, and did a lot of touring with famous artists like England Dan and John Ford Coley and Hall & Oates and KC and the Sunshine Band and ELO and Boston. They never really headlined, though, except for this one song called Moonlight Feels Right. You'll know this when you hear it. It peaked at number 3 back in 1976 after spending 14 weeks in the top 40. It's their one real claim to fame. This is Starbuck and song number 1868. This is Moonlight Feels Right.
Nothing like the scattered dose of potion. The moon will send you on your way. Moonlight feels right. Moonlight feels right.
Remember it now? Very 70s, although not disco 70s, more prog rock 70s, or prog pop, if that's a genre. I mentioned that they're a 2-hit wonder. They did squeeze into the top 40 again in 1977 with a number 38 hit called Everybody Be Dancin', but this was their one big hit. This was Moonlight Feels Right, song number 1868 on Billboard's Top 3,000 Songs of All Time. Song number 1867. I was mentioning a couple songs ago how the lead singer of the Box Tops was only 18 when he recorded Cry Like a Baby, their number 2 hit. Well, this artist was only 14 when she recorded this song in 1990. It's Tracy Spencer from Waterloo, Iowa, who at 11 years old won the junior vocalist competition on the television show Star Search, kind of a precursor to American Idol. Do you remember that? It was hosted by Ed McMahon. Remember that? After she won, she signed a contract with Capitol Records, who at the time was the youngest female artist ever to do that. Her first hit, Symptoms of True Love, went to number 38 in 1988. She was only 12 when that came out. Her big hit, though, was a couple of years later called This House, and it went all the way up to number 3 in 1991 after spending 14 weeks in the top 40. Here is the youngin', well, not youngin' now, she's 49, But here is the youngin' at the time, Tracy Spencer, with song number 1867. This is This House. Teenage female pop stars were a bit of a trend in the late 80s, early 90s with artists like Debbie Gibson and Tiffany, and particularly from 87. Tracy Spencer continued that tradition with the song This House. She only charted one other time in her career, not until 1999 with the song It's All About You, Not About Me, a number 18 hit, and that's the last we ever heard from her on the top 40. But she has this one, This House, the number 3 hit, song number 1867 on Billboard's top 3,000 songs of all time. My special segment is a quick follow-up on anticipation. I had mentioned in the last podcast about anticipating a specific song when you're listening to a countdown, in particular year-end countdowns. You have your bag of songs that you want to hear, and hearing them get picked off one by one and hoping that they would come later and higher because you're rooting for them. I had asked the Facebook group if there's any songs they're anticipating on this countdown. I have the luxury of knowing all of the songs, although I still am eagerly anticipating giving some of them out. I mentioned Word Up a couple of podcasts ago, and a friend of mine, Kaylee Sibrel, mentioned that that was one that she mentioned to me as a song she was anticipating, and I didn't give her credit for it, so my apologies. But she also gave me a song that she's anticipating, 9 to 5 by Dolly Parton. I can tell you that's not coming up for a very, very long time in season 3, but other folks had also given me their songs that they're anticipating on this countdown as well. And I thought I'd read a couple of them for you. Robert Zisman Stone is waiting for some Beach Boys. I can tell you right now, you will not have to wait that long. In fact, you don't even have to wait till the end of this podcast. Tim Little says that he's a huge Heart fan, so he's looking for songs like Magic Man, Barracuda, What About Love, Alone, and all of the others. I can tell you not all of them are on this countdown. Alone definitely is. Benjamin Gittleman is really waiting for Don't You Want Me from the Human League. That ain't coming for a long time. That was a powerhouse number 1 hit. Joseph Toth has Kelly Clarkson's Breakaway singles and Def Leppard. Robert Brittenham has a ton too. A lot of number 1 hits. You're So Vain, Heart of Glass, My Sweet Lord, Fame, the David Bowie hit, Magic, Olivia Newton-John. Those are all coming up much later. You're all giving me some powerhouse number 1s. Marcela Nunez, more Bowie and Queen. Done. They'll be coming up later. And Matt Geske also lists a couple of Bowie songs coming up sometime. Mitch Worthington says, I'm a New Edition fan, so waiting for their solo songs. We've heard Bobby Brown already, and My Prerogative is a ways away. That's true. But Every Little Step should be coming soon, and he is right. It is coming up soon. Fred Hawson actually listed No One Is to Blame by Howard Jones, which was played in the last podcast. I'm glad that I was able to appease him on that particular one. Hans Anderson has a big fan of Chicago. Dan Ruskin says The Best of Times by Styx should be coming up soon. He's right. Joseph Ayer says The Curly Shuffle, that one didn't qualify. That didn't hit top 10, but I remember that song from 1983. Anthony Velasquez mentioned he wants to hear more from Paula Abdul, Debbie Gibson, and all the 80s, 90s pop divas that I love. Is Tracy Spencer one of them? Because you just heard it. And Joseph Ayers also lists he was curious to see the highest INXS song if it hasn't been already played. Well, we just heard INXS on this particular countdown as well, and there will be more. Thank you for everybody that's responded, and it pleases me to no end to play the songs that everybody is hotly anticipating. Trust me, I am too, even though I know the list, but when it gets to it, I'm like, oh yes, I can give that one out as well. Thank you very much. Now on with the countdown and song number 1866. So who here is hotly anticipated Megan Thee Stallion? Because she's here and her 2 biggest hits are all within the next 10 songs. Megan Thee Stallion, born Megan Javon Ruth Heat from San Antonio, Texas. She's only 31 years old. She did a lot of freestyle rapping in the teens, and due to a huge social media presence, signed a record deal and hit the charts quite frequently, 11 times between 2019 and 2021, and plenty more. She has the opposite problem that the Everly Brothers had, where they predated the Hot 100 and therefore predated this countdown. Megan Thee Stallion post-dated this countdown. She has several songs from 2022 and 2023, including the number one song, Hiss, that didn't make this countdown because it missed the cutoff date of December 31st, 2022. But we do get to hear her twice, both number one hits. The first one as a solo artist is the song Savage, which went to number one for a single week on May 30th, 2020. But it also spent 6 weeks at number two, back and forth throughout the top 10. It only spent 26 weeks. I mean, that sounds like a lot, but it could have been more, which is why it's ranked a little bit low. But this is Savage, Megan Thee Stallion, song number 1866. Let's take a listen.
I'm a savage, yeah. Classy, bougie, ratchet, yeah. Sassy, moody, nasty, yeah. Acting stupid, what's happening? Bitch, what's happening? Bitch, I'm a savage, yeah. Classy, bougie, ratchet, yeah. Sassy, moody, nasty, hacking, stupid, what's happening?
My daughter, Abby, would make fun of me when I tried to rap this song because I'd butcher it and I'd sound just like Phil Dunphy from the sitcom Modern Family. That was Savage, Megan Thee Stallion, song number 1866. She's got one more coming up, a controversial duet with Cardi B. Will it be in this podcast or the next one? One of the two. Song number 1865, and the best song of the career of the group The Little River Band, the band from Down Under. They had several hits in the top 40 with songs like Lady and Cool Change. Lady, I think, is my favorite by them. And two number 6 hits that we've already heard, Lonesome Loser at song 2515, and The Night Owls at 2372. Well, this 1978 hit, a number 3 hit called Reminiscing, is their top one ever. It lands here at song number 1865. Here's For the Last Time, it's the Little River Band with Reminiscing.
Don't be late. I can hardly wait. I said to myself when we're old, we'll go dancing in the dark, walking through the park and reminiscing.
Now, Little River Band attempted to do something that Van Halen successfully did, replace their lead singer and stay relevant. In the 70s, their lead singer, Glenn Chirac, who you just heard on this particular song, was the mainstay lead vocalist until 1982 when he was replaced by John Farnham. John Farnham had a couple of successful hits, like the other guy, couldn't maintain it very well, and after that initial splash, kind of fell by the wayside. It's hard to replace lead singers, but we got to hear them one more time. The best hit of their career, Little River Band, Reminiscing, song number 1865 on Billboard's Top 3,000 Songs of All Time. Well, I'm happy to tell Robin Zisman Stone that the Beach Boys are here in song number 1864. It has been a long time since we've heard one of the greatest American rock bands in history. Their only other hit so far was California Girls, way back at song number 2933. I think I hadn't hit puberty when I did that podcast. Most of their hits were from the 60s, but they dabbled from time to time with songs in the 70s and even into the 80s. This is one of the 70s songs, yet it's a remake of an old Chuck Berry song from 1957. That version of it, the Chuck Berry version, went all the way up to number 8 on the chart that predated the Hot 100. The Beach Boys took it all the way to number 5. It's called Rock and Roll Music. Let's play a little bit of it for you. Song number 1864. This is the Beach Boys and Rock and Roll Music.
Just let me hear some of that rock and roll music. Any old way you choose it. It's got a backbeat, you can't lose it. Any old time you use it. It's gotta be rock and roll music. If you wanna dance with me.
I have an odd confession to make, and it could be because of the limited synthesizer that's in the backing instruments, but this song is kind of weak sauce for the Beach Boys. It doesn't have that harmony explosion that they do, and nor does it have the fun of the original Chuck Berry song. I like the Beach Boys, and I like rock and roll music, just this version didn't seem to sit well with me. But it sat well with a lot of people, as it went all the way up to number 5, and spent 13 weeks in the top 40 in 1976. It was a little bit of a comeback for them. This was the Beach Boys with song number 1864, Rock and Roll Music. We're going to hear them 5 more times, one of them coming up fairly soon in season 2, and they've got more in season 3 as well. Song number 1863, and it's a fun one from the 60s, a number 1 hit from Luigi Alfredo Giovanni Sacco. Who is that? Well, he changed his name. Actually, it was changed for him to Lou Christie, something he said it took 20 years to get used to the change in the name. He was a pop crooner that racked up several hits in the 60s, and 63, 66, 69 hit the top 45 times. 3 top 10s, including I'm Gonna Make You Mine, and a number 6 hit, Two Faces Have I. But his big hit was in 1966, the song Lightning Strikes, that features his signature falsetto along the lines of Frankie Valli from Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. It's a good song. Spent 10 weeks in the top 40 and spent a single week at number 1 on February 19th, 1966. Let's hear Lou Christie in that falsetto voice. Song number 1863. This is Lightning Strikes.
When I see your lips making 2 big kisses, stop! I can't stop. Stop! I can't stop myself. Lightning striking again. Lightning striking again.
Wonderful background vocals in that song from Bernadette Carroll, Peggy Santiglia, and Denise Ferry that give it a wonderful harmony counterpoint to Lou Christie's wonderful voice in that song. 1863, that was Lightning Strikes. Lou Christie died just a year ago as well, since I started this podcast, actually. At the age of 82, he will be forever known for this gem number 1 hit from the 60s. Song number 1862, and you better get on board because there's a Madonna train coming in season 2. We already heard from her in season 2 one time with Cherish at song number 1940. Well, she's got 4 more coming up in the next 100 songs, starting with this one from 1986 called True Blue, off the album True Blue. It's interesting, looking back, you would think that all the popular songs from Madonna all came at the exact same time because it's all in history, but there was actually albums and years that separated some of the great tunes with some of the other great tunes. The Holiday and Lucky Star era was different from the Like a Virgin, which was different from the True Blue Live to Tell, which is different from the Like a Prayer. Those came out years apart, yet going back in the catalog, it's all just 80s music, and you would think that it came all out in one night. It's not the case. True Blue, a 1986 hit that went all the way up to number 3 and spent 12 weeks in the top 40. It's song number 1862. This is Madonna for the 10th time in this countdown with True Blue.
You're the one for me, baby, this I know. 'Cause if it's true love, you're the one I'm dreaming of. Your heart beats me like a glove, and I'm gonna be true blue, baby, I love you.
I said all of her big hits from the 80s, they occurred in different years, but I gotta say, True Blue was a big, big album. It had 5 top 10 hits, including Open Your Heart, one of my all-time favorites, Live to Tell, the number 4 hit La Isla Bonita, and the number 1 hit Papa Don't Preach. All of them, except for La Isla Bonita, which we've already heard, we will be hearing later in this countdown. That was True Blue, song number 1862 on Billboard's Top 3,000 Songs of All Time. So what is it? The final one of this set, song number 1861. Who's going to get it? Who's going to get the drum roll today? Well, I gave a little bit of a hint in the last podcast because he had a hit then, and I said he's going to have another one on the very next podcast, but not with him, but with the band that he played in. He'd had a solo career, and he had a career where he was the lead singer of his own group. This was from the 70s and the 80s. Does that ring a bell at all? Well, he's from Detroit, plays most of his own instruments. was a guitarist on Stevie Wonder's touring band when he did Superstition, and he had a #1 hit in the 80s called Ghostbusters. You got it now? Yeah, it's Ray Parker Jr., and it's with his band Radio, R-A-Y-D-I-O. It's the only hit on this countdown by Radio, a #4 hit from 1981. Do you know what it is? Well, I'll tell you. Song number 1861, and the top song in this set is Radio. The woman needs love, just like you do.
Woman needs a love just like you do. Don't kid yourself into thinking that she don't. She can fool around just like you do. Unless you give her all the loving she wants.
Soft pop goodness from Ray Parker Jr. and Radio, song number 1861. It was the last song he did in the top 10 as Radio, and then he had his solo career where he had The Other Woman, top 10 hit, and of course Ghostbusters, which we're going to hear later in this countdown. And that is it. Another wonderful set of 20 songs. We're cruising right along in the 1800s. I want to thank everybody for listening and joining in with all of their wonderful responses on the Facebook group. We have over 11,700 downloads now from 105 countries and over 2,000 cities. Thank you very much for all of that. Thank you to Jeffrey Mosher, to Robert Rusk, and to Mitch Worthington for without their efforts, this podcast wouldn't be the best it could be. Tune in next week for episode 58 as we continue to burrow through the 1800s. I'll have to do some of the podcast in between the NFL draft, one of my favorite things of the sports year, but I will get it done. As always, I will end this podcast by playing clips of the 20 songs that we've just heard. Again, thanks for listening. It's been a pleasure. It's one of the great pleasures of life to connect with people, both through voice or through song. I hope I've done both. And so on, and so on, and Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Good day.
They don't see you as I do. I wish they would try to. I'm sure they'd think again if they had a friend like Ben.
You need. Ooh, that's why. This is what you need. This is what you need.
99 Luftballons, ihren Weg zum Horizont hielt man für UFOs aus dem All. Warum schickte ein General? The war machine springs to life, opens up one eager eye, focusing it on the sky. The 99 red balloons go by.
You know I love you, but I just can't take this. You know I love you, but I'm playing for keeps. Although I need you, I'm not gonna make this. You know I want to, but I'm in too deep.
Now this looks like a job for me, so everybody just follow me, cause we need a little controversy, cause it feels so empty without me. I said this looks like a job for me, so everybody just follow me, cause we need a little controversy, cause it feels so empty without me. Little hellions, kids feeling rebellious and embarrassed.
Get low, don't be shy. I'm Playboy. I know you wanna ride, you're a star, and it shows. What's happening? What's up? What's up? Let's go, let's go, let's go. Girl, shake that laffy taffy, that laffy taffy. Shake that laffy taffy, shake that laffy taffy. Girl, shake that laffy taffy, that laffy taffy.
Nothing is really wrong. Feeling like I don't belong. Walking around some kind of lonely cloud. Rainy days and Mondays always get me down. Problems all day long. Will my problems work out right or wrong? My baby don't like anything I do.
It's got what it takes. So tell me why a Cadillac, baby. I know now that you're not a plaything, not a toy or a puppet on a string.
And you are the woman that I base my whole existence on. And when I get to you, my desire is glowing in your mind.
Nothing like the sky to dose a potion. The moon will send you on your way. Moonlight feels right. Moonlight feels right.
I'm a savage, classy, bougie, ratchet, sassy, moody, nasty, hacking, stupid. What's happening, bitch? What's happening, bitch? I'm a savage, classy, bougie, ratchet, sassy, moody, nasty, hacking, stupid. What's happening?
Hurry, don't be late. I can hardly wait. I said to myself when we're home, we'll go dancing in the dark, walking through the park and reminiscing.
Just let me hear some of that rock and roll music. Any old way you choose it. It's got a backbeat, you can't lose it. Any old time you use it. It's gotta be rock and roll music. If you wanna dance with me.
When I see the lips making two big kisses,
Stop!
I can't stop.
Stop! I can't stop myself. Lightning striking again. Lightning striking again. You're the one for me, baby. This I know. 'Cause it's true love. You're the one I'm dreaming of. Your heart beats like a glove. And I'm gonna be true blue, baby. I love you.
Woman needs a love just like you do. Don't kid yourself into thinking that she don't. She can fool around just like you do. Unless you give her all the love and she